People don't become magnetic by being bad. They become magnetic by stopping abandoning themselves. Where the bad comes from is the story, the beliefs, how we feel that we are being perceived of by other people. That's where feeling bad comes from. It is also linked to fear, fear of doing the wrong thing, fear of not being good enough, the anxiety, everything attached to it, the attachment, the need of recognition, the fear of rejection, the need for their approval. But what happens is when you develop the strength to create the correct boundaries, you find it within yourself to have your energy be self-fulfilled from within. That's where you take your power back. And where people will begin to think that you're being a bad person or being narcissistic, that is because they're used to the old you. But what you can't get wrapped into is allowing yourself to take on their tension, knowing that their tension is their stuff to deal with. Our tension, when people don't give us what we want, that's made us feel certain ways, that is our stuff to deal with. That is where the separations of tasks come into play. When you begin to look at life like this, you won't ever have your feelings hurt or be discouraged or disappointed by another human being. And when your mind wants you to feel like that because of something that happened, how someone viewed you, how someone may have rejected you or said something you didn't like, you don't control the situation. You observe it and allow it to flow through the body and be gone. That's where you begin to connect with spirituality. That's where you begin to connect with your strength within. That is the power I speak of on the channel that we all have within us. How we can begin to connect with that power again begins with awareness. Being aware of those thoughts. There's less identifying ourselves with those thoughts. They came from past events or what you expect to have happen in the future. And what's happening is there's a constant story up there that I need to be this. Or you ask questions, who could I be today when I run into this individual for them to treat me in this way? And that's okay. It's natural for those thoughts to go on in your head. It's natural to feel guilt because of something you said that you feel like you may have left a bad impression on that person. But here's the thing. You can't control that situation. What you said in that present moment, you felt it came through the body and you admitted what you had to say. Whether that person took it wrong or right and don't like what you said, that's their stuff to deal with. And when you stop bothering yourself about all of these small little things that we have no control over, You start to focus on what you can control. And that is your inner state of being. To connect with that flow state again. The flow state is when you are not identified with thoughts. You are allowing the flow of love to move through your body. And you live now. In the now. Not letting up here think of what you need to do later this afternoon, later tonight. Message that person, post that picture, see how many likes I got. That is all something outside from living in the right now. And I'm not saying you can't do any of those things, but you can't allow those things consume or create how you feel in this very moment. Because when you are living in the now, none of those things matter. And when you lessen the importance of all those things, you become way more magnetic. And you're not purposely trying to attract people. You are naturally in your state of being. That is your power. That is your truth. Part of your power is to be your true authentic self, regardless of the tension it creates in others. And why is that? I said it earlier. Because their tension was never yours to fix in the first place. And why did it make you feel like you had to fix their tension? Because it would make you feel like you were a bad person when you didn't. Now, here is the paradox, is when you start being this way, you can still be a loving individual that loves people, them. And if love is too strong a word, like, tolerate. Not everyone is your cup of tea, and that's okay. But switch that around. You are not everyone's cup of tea either. And that should be okay. But somewheres in our mind, from our past events, from our past failures or rejections or being treated poorly or being treated with disrespect, we thought somewhere along the way that it would be so great that if everyone liked us and everyone did things for me in accordance to this story, this belief system, this sum of my learned experience, that I want the world to do this and not hit my stuff. And when it hits my stuff, I need to protect myself. That is just living through an illusion. You allow that to be what it is. And when you start to live from the awareness standpoint, you don't have to constantly fix yourself or fix the past or fix the future or control the past or control the future. Everything is what it is. Everything is good enough now. That person's approval or not is good enough now. That person who didn't want to acknowledge you, that seemed like an attractive person on the outside, doesn't affect your state now. And how much more magnetic would you be if you just didn't pay attention and just walked your own merry way, gave that person a smile if it felt natural in that present moment? And if it didn't, you don't have to smile at them. You can just be who you are. You don't have to send people negative energy or hate because you feel like they've directed hate at you. That is you protecting yourself. That is you calming the ego, giving the ego what it wants. If you continue living through that story of everything needs to go in accordance to the way I have it mapped out, and when it hits my stuff, I'm going to do this and that and the other thing to protect myself, you're in for big trouble. because you're going to continue to live through the ego, continuing to attract the current reality that you are currently stuck in. And that involves having people come into your life to play these dynamics with you, of you feeling like all I do is attract toxic people to me. And when I do like someone a lot, they don't accept me for who I am. So I need to fix myself, either my physical appearance or the way I act, and then maybe they'll like me. That is one of the biggest illusions and mind game, mind fuckery, I'll call it in my language here in Cape Breton, that you're doing yourself one of the biggest disservices of eternity. But it's something that we've all got lost into. And it's by focusing on the mind a lot. You're not focusing on the present moment. You're not focusing on the flow of love and breathing. Focusing on your breath. If you were focused on right now as you watch this video and not all those thoughts or all the things I said that triggered you. If you were focused on right now, breathe in and breathe out. Let it go. Whatever I said that hit your stuff, let it go. Because I am saying these things to help you come to the realization that all you need is who you are in this present moment. You are good enough. You are worthy. You are capable of allowing yourself to look at reality in a different way with a spiritual context and not need to control events like how people look at us. And you become way more magnetic to people who resonate with the real you. And there's going to be beautiful, attractive people, handsome people that love you. But you're never going to allow that to happen if you need to protect, control, allow the ego to run my current reality. This is how I need to act tomorrow when I see this person. This is what I'm going to need to do tomorrow when I run into my boss. I'm going to need to do this task, this tomorrow, that next week, this next year. Is that not, you're not living for right now. You're living for yesterday. The stuff that happened in high school, the stuff that happened with your parents, the stuff that happened there, here, there, tomorrow, next year, 50 years from now. That's what the mind wants us to do. You can't put that to sleep. You become the conscious observer of a lot of those programs. All of them. You don't let any of them create your current identity. And how your attitude will change. It's going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be like night and day. Because you're never ever going to chase after someone's approval ever again when you begin to look at life like this. Breathing in and out, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through sitting by yourself or in front of the television. Breathing in and out, that's your gift. That's what brings you back to the present moment. You don't have to control another human being's opinion. You don't have to control how they act towards you. And you can focus more on your intention in life. And having goals is great. Having ideas is great. But that should not be the ruler of your life and your identity. It's all about who you are being. When you are being, you're not controlled by the mind and the ego. You are in your natural state, and that is connected with the universe and God, whatever you believe in. You allow something greater to send you energy. And then you are an inspiration to other people when you are in this state. But when you are in the state that's controlled by the ego, you allow toxic people to break those boundaries. You allow toxic people and things that happen that you don't like to bother you all day, including that car that was going too slow, including that person who didn't acknowledge you, including that person who said something you didn't like. And then you created a whole story about that thing that wasn't even true because they said something that hit your stuff. Allow it to be what it is and stop trying to fix yourself constantly. Release it and let it go because it will flow through the body and be gone instead of always getting suppressed down into your system and repressed every time someone hits our stuff. And being magnetic works both ways. When you take your power back and become strong, become good, become attractive for being you, not because we need other people to define us as attractive. You're attractive because you believe it to be true. That's all you need. You just need to be who you are. And that is not controlling how other people look at us or you. You don't have to control anything. You can be the conscious observer of it. You can be aware of being aware. And that's where you start to live with peace and live life. Because a lot of people drift through life living through their ego in their mind. And when it's too late, you finally realize that all of that I did to myself my whole life, I didn't need to live like that. But then it's too late, it's later in life, and I wish I could have went back in time and not let all of these things affect my current reality. But the good news is it is not too late for you, and you can begin on this trek to greatness, being connected with God, being connected with your purpose. That's where you're going to feel true love, not through being approved by someone who looks hot. Allow yourself to repel certain people. And if you feel like a bad person, lean into it even more. Not to be hateful, not to be mean. That is just true alignment with our character, our path, and people who resonate with the real us. And being magnetic, like I said, it works both ways. You draw in great things and people and opportunities that are going to match your vibration and your energy. And if that's of allowing your heart to open again and being loving, being open, and when something bothers you, admitting it instead of suppressing it, then you're going to attract a whole lot more healthier, positive, and great things into your life while being the true, authentic version of yourself that doesn't have to hide any of the stuff that bothers you. You open up about it and know that I didn't have to live this way my whole life. I could have just been how I actually feel inside, not how my mind was trying to make me feel and chasing after certain things for me to feel a certain way about myself. You let that go and it's gone. And allow yourself to repel those other people that are supposed to not. They're not supposed to be there. They're only drawn in to teach us a lesson. And when that happened to me, that's what sent me on my spiritual journey. Is I had to open up. I had to wake up. And when I woke up, I got into a lot of this stuff, allowing God's energy in and being more spiritual, not chasing. And then that's what led me to want to become a speaker that makes videos for you guys. So start living with awareness this week and let me know how it goes. Stay grounded within your own energy and continue pushing forward.